speaking of next-gen consoles, next story is about Microsoft and the acquisition of the parent company, the owner of Bethesda games. A lot of people, we published a clip on this. We talked about this when it first happened. A lot of people became concerned that Microsoft may screw things up for some of their favorite titles. May go in there and make changes, may go in there with a sledgehammer, may go in there with an iron fist and start calling shots. And of course, if you really enjoy a product or a studio and what they've been doing, you don't want that to happen. You want things to kind of be the same so that they can keep pumping out whatever it is that you happen to be a fan of, whether it's, what were we talking about? Could be Elder Scrolls. People play online. Yeah. Oh yeah, id Software is a part of the acquisition. There's games people are playing right now. And also there's upcoming exclusives, which we mentioned. PlayStation exclusives that people have questions about. Are those going to still happen? And of course, Spencer came out and said, yeah, those are going to be okay for now. We really don't want to screw too much up. Well, today we have further affirmation that Microsoft wants to be sort of hands-off with this. They want to own the studio. Obviously, they're going to leverage it at some point.
Some sort of exclusive.
Of course, they've got to do that. Yeah. But they also come out and say something really important, which I think fans are going to be interested to hear. Here's the quote.
Is there a quote?
There's a quote. There's a quote. I promise you there's a quote.
From who?
I'm seeing the Nadella stuff, but I'm looking for the quote from Spencer specifically. Here we go. This is a huge investment in games that they're going to get to play. Bethesda will run semi-independently in an effort to keep the company building the games that brought it success in the first place. Here's the quote. It is about the culture of those teams, he said. Another quote, they are not becoming us. We'll always look for places where that is a commonality of purpose, mission, and culture. That's speaking to how ZeniMax came on their radar. They've worked together before, and it sounds like they're going to let the company continue to flourish independently of Microsoft. Do work for Microsoft, but also flourish independently of Microsoft. And of course, that's important when you acquire a company because their bottom line is your bottom line too.
Yeah.
And if you have successful franchises and games that are cross-platform, you're still putting money in your pocket. This is kind of like when Samsung makes a display for an iPhone. There are certain partnerships and relationships that are actually beneficial to both.
Yeah.
And you could argue here that those franchises, regardless, well, you don't have to argue it. It is definitive that the franchises that are successful will put some money into Microsoft's pocket.
Yes.
Even if they're being played on other platforms.
Or maybe, you know, Microsoft wants their developers to create some sort of new IP.
Of course.
You know?
There's going to be that at some point. And I think we all pretty much are convinced that that's what the big picture of the play is. But in the meantime, and in association with, keep working on cross-platform projects too. That would be a cool that would be a cool approach, as opposed to, right, on Sony's side, they kind of didn't do that, right?
Yeah, with quite a lot of their studios.
Yeah, they really didn't really do that. So we'll see if Microsoft actually executes it again, is held up to this. But as it stands and what they're saying right now is, look, they're underneath Microsoft, but they are not Microsoft. We'll see how this goes.